Hey, kia ora, welcome back everybody. Thank you for joining us here. I'm here for part 4 or part 5, I think it is. Sorry, I can't remember. In regards to my reaction to Mr. Willie Apiata VC. So let's jump back in.
The rate of fire had increased even more, and that was when Willie decided we're out of here.
Chucked him on my shoulder and I said, "Let's go, mate." Then we headed off back towards where we knew our guys were.
It certainly never came into anyone's mind that we ever leave anyone behind.
Their only hope, run through the firefight to the support vehicle.
You just keep going till you either go where you want to go or you get dropped.
Running up that hill, the ground was on fire. Tracer whipping through the air. I didn't feel no weight at all. Adrenaline pumping through your body, just knowing you have to cover that area to get him to safety. I don't know how to really explain it better, but you've got everything that you've learnt from the moment you were born up until that moment is flowing through your body. Trying to help you get out of that situation alive.
Against unbelievable odds, Corporal Willie Apiata made it unscathed and delivered his wounded commander to a waiting medic.
Hey, just on this piece here, I am really, really grateful. I didn't mention this at the start of this reaction. Just received some awesome comms from one of the guys that was there, that was involved in this particular event, and he's been involved in a number of other ones as well. And so he was there, and the description of and what you see in the video with the rounds hammering in on their position, Willie, I think, used the term the ground was on fire, Tracer coming past and just, really trying to take these three guys out in and around Willie's vehicle, and the PC and the other person, I think we saw there, the gunner. The information that's been provided and this reenactment, a couple of things. Reenactment has been done by badged operators within the unit, so I didn't know that. So that's a cool fact. The other cool fact is that the person that was there involved in this event, or at least one of the people that was there, oversaw the implementation of the reenactment and what was happening and what it was actually like on the ground. Not blowing it up or anything like that, not exaggerating it. It just is what it is, and what we get to see a glimpse of gives us a small insight and a small snapshot into what it was like for these guys. And then the decision made by the two or the three of them, Willie and the offsider, making the decision that we've got to get out of here, otherwise we're not going to be around for much longer. And then picking up the PC and running literally for their lives to try to get to the lads that were trying to cover them as well. Just amazing, but awesome. Very, very grateful to get that insight and that information from this person who took the time to reach out and just wanted to share with me what it was like and what happened there in this particular event. So extremely, extremely grateful. Obviously never mentioned the names of the individual or the individuals, but man, just really puts things into perspective. The last part for me is there's been a bunch of, well, not a bunch, there's been a handful of comments really of people, they have their opinions that weren't there, like I wasn't there. They talk about what Willie Apiata did was just a basic grunt thing to do, shouldn't have been awarded a VC. Listen, that's your opinion, Like, you're entitled to it. I respect it. It is what it is. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with your opinion of this case here. What I have seen and what I do know is that the lads that were there back the decision that has been made. There was a due process, a lengthy process that went through to determine whether or not Willie's actions warranted receiving the Victoria Cross. That whole due process went through, and it was found and deemed, as far as I know, to warrant the issuing and awarding of a Victoria Cross to Mr. Willie Apiata VC. So, you know, whether you got sour grapes or you've been bloody sucking on lemons or whatever it is, those people that have that opinion, you know, too bad, so sad. You know, Willie deserves it in my eyes and in many other eyes, and in many other people's eyes, I should say. And doesn't really matter what you think, bro. Likewise, doesn't really matter what I think, but that's my response to those that have put out those comments anyway.
But the battle was far from over. It's the end of the road trip, and there's only one place Willie Apiata wants to be.
Was what I've been waiting for, eh? To come home, bring the medal back to the unit, bring it back to the lads, and say to them, here boys, this is for us.
Ooh. Hey boys. Hey brothers. How's it going, bro?
Willie, congratulations. Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, fucking
Congratulations, man.
thank
Good
you,
to see you, buddy.
Hey, bro.
Cheers.
Cheers, there, brother. So good to be in here with a beer, man.
You know what I'm seeing and hearing and just feeling from this environment as Willie comes in? Without seeing the faces of the operators there at the regiment, at the group, there's just, appears to be anyway, a genuine feeling of happiness, recognition, congratulations to Willie, well deserved. So yeah, just on the back end of my earlier comment, for those that don't think it was warranted, those of us that weren't there, the recognition of your peers within an SF unit means the world to the individual. The fact that he's got a VC, he's taking it back for the brothers, for them, and what, like his words, this is what they've all achieved together. He ultimately has to carry that weight and that pressure that comes with it. But he's done it for them, or he's recognition of the unit and the work that they've done, and a whole bunch of things that operators there would have done, which will never see the light of day, unfortunately. And the people that are there are genuinely happy for him. And that's the feeling that I get. So the recognition that he's getting from his peers, man, that's up there with the Victoria Cross. Some might even say that's worth more than the Victoria Cross, to have the trust and the respect of your colleagues, of your peers.
All these real formal things that we've been to, this is the only place I can let my hair down, eh? All these straight
Just like I say, is just kia ora to everybody here. Kia ora koutou. I am proud and honoured to wear this VC. I didn't ask for it. It was bestowed upon me. And what my thoughts are is I carry it for us both, the lads who were there that day, the lads that are here now, the ones that are past, and the ones that are in the future. Bros, it's ever so grounding to come home, because you fellas are my levelers. You will always keep me the same, and that's how I want to be, one of the lads with you fellas. So, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Cheers, brothers.
Beautiful, eh? Beautiful speech. Simple. From the man who typically has very few words when he's speaking, as I think we've heard in the other the other videos of here. But awesome to hear. Just wants to be one of the lads, one of the boys, and great to know and see that that's how he's viewed. Not anything extra special within the unit, from what I understand and from what I've heard anyway. but just definitely respected and appreciated for the work that he's done, as are all the guys and the operators, in my opinion anyway, should be. So.
After only his second weekend off in 2 months, Corporal Willie Apiata VC is hard back at work for the New Zealand SAS. His time is a constant juggle between the intense training required of a Special Forces soldier and the demands placed on being the country's newest hero.
This caliber of this award is something you can't hide, something you couldn't keep under wraps.
Among a stream of invitations Willie receives, one has great personal significance. It's from the 375 residents of a tiny coastal community in the Eastern Bay of Plenty called Te Kaha, Willie's hometown.
They're very forthcoming and humble people, and they really looked after us when we moved there. They teach you to value the land where you live, appreciate what you have. We're living down there is unspoiled and hasn't been commercialised, as you could say.
Up until now, Willie has been supported by a close team, personally led by his commanding officer. But this weekend, that all changes.
It wasn't about us. It wasn't about the SAS. It was wider than that. It was about Willie Apiata. It was about his iwi.
The homecoming at Te Kaha is a trip Willie must take alone. The elders of this community have pulled out all the stops as the population swells to nearly 4,000, making Willie's visit home the biggest gathering of Māori in the district in over a century.
It was a huge thing for all those people down there. You know, it sort of took something like this to really bring them all together.
Decreed a hui of national significance, the homecoming is not just to honour Willie.
You see all those photos of the fallen soldiers. You're there watching the occasion as well.
Soldiers like Lieutenant Tumoana Nui Akiwa Ngarimu, awarded the Victoria Cross, but killed in action during World War II.
You could feel in the air. At every stage, you could feel our ancestors. You could feel their presence.
Tomorrow will be the official celebration, but tonight, a local son is welcomed home. Before the announcement of the Victoria Cross, few knew Willie was a soldier, let alone a decorated member of the country's elite fighting unit.
For them to find out like that, I think they're still trying to get over the shock of it as well. Really proud people.
The one-time mischievous kid has returned a mature and much-loved warrior hero.
That's beautiful to see. Just seeing that. A couple of things that stand out for me was Willie's comment. I don't know if he said it was a shame that something like this needed to happen to bring everybody together, or whether he said, it seemed like something along those lines. But it's sort of makes me think of the moments when you connect and get together with either loved ones or friends. And sadly, as we get a bit older, it's oftentimes a tangi or a funeral. Or some sort of sad event, which then brings people together, whether it's your family or your friends or both, into that same space to reconnect, to laugh, to catch up, to, I suppose, re-establish bonds, words to that effect. And that's sad that happens. I'm guilty of it. it's something that I understand happens, but yeah, it would be nice to get together before those things happen, and have those opportunities. Things that come to mind for me are like, just the basic battalion reunion for 1st Battalion, at least from the cohort or generation that I was fortunate to come in with and serve alongside and serve under. That'd be pretty awesome. It'd be the same over in the regiments over SASR. That would be, they had a 20-year reunion one for the Iraq invasion, which I wasn't able to get to in the end. But those things are, they're important. And him coming home to his people, and then they're putting something like this on. It's awesome to see the ancestors, our tipuna, sitting there in the photos, and you heard the name, I've forgotten the name of the individual that was awarded the Victoria Cross but died in action. Yeah, you could imagine the feeling, the wairua, the spirit that would have been present, the ancestors being present during that time. Seeing a few tears being shed by those that were present there, and then just seeing the people embracing Willie. You've seen some of those there with the greeting and the hongi. They seem very, very proud, as they should be, of one of their own being there. So this is nice to see, and just my thoughts that come to mind as I watch this.
Tina, we're proud of you, darling. So proud of you.
A New Zealand Special Forces patrol in Afghanistan was on the offensive after being attacked in the early hours of the morning by a large number of insurgents.
For us, it was like a blind hit from nowhere. Where did that come from? And it's a quick orientation to the threat, which is what the guys did.
Despite his brush with death, Corporal Willie Apiata threw himself into the fray.
All I saw was Willie covered in blood, wrapped up with a machine gun belt, carrying a GPMG general person machine gun, looking like he wanted to do business.
Start getting some fire back.
Just on here as well, what I didn't mention, apart from getting the information or getting some confirmation about this reenactment, the lads weren't wearing shimags when they were, as seen and depicted in this reenactment. And the vehicles, I believe they had from memory, because I haven't got the notes open in front of me, was they were running the Humvees. So not the types of vehicles that are in this reenactment. I think I got that right anyway. So not surprising that Willie, the gunner, there with the PC who was critically injured, got him to safety. And it would have just been a natural thing to get into the fight, to grab a weapon, or in this case sounds like he's grabbed the GPMG, the 7.62 machine gun, off the vehicle, and he's hooking in to the fight as well. And no doubt the other guy, the gunner there as well, doing the same thing. They're just going to get back into the fight, get rounds down range, and that's just what you do.
I honestly believe that they bit off more than they could chew.
Dad stopped firing long before we did.
On Saturday morning, Willie Apiata is formally welcomed onto the marae, and the emotion of the occasion is overwhelming.
I didn't really realise the scale the event was going to be until I turned up that day. These people were so proud to have me come back home. That will hang with me forever.
Looking good, Wills. Looking good.
Wearing a precious cloak and seated at the forefront of all dignitaries, Willie receives a lineup of speakers whose oratory represents the feelings of the many guests.
Willie Apiata,
The emotions that I was feeling that day, there are no words for them.
Willie is called to the wharenui, where he is handed a centuries-old mere, carved from the highest strike of greenstone. Flanked by the images of past generations of soldiers, Willie turns and formally acknowledges the people, his tears barely kept in check.
Sounds like they're doing Ruo Moko Haka. Man, I could just imagine. Well, no, I couldn't imagine. But watching this, I get a bit of a small sense of the feeling that no doubt Willie was experiencing, and you can see the expression on his face. You know, the gratitude that he has, probably the sense and overwhelming feeling of the responsibility that he now has as well, with this event, this occasion being put in place, rightly so, to recognize and acknowledge him and to welcome him home and to do all those things for him in recognition of his service and what he's done. It's funny reading some of the commentary, the subtitles below of the speakers on the marae. They're having their opportunity, and just the what's the word I'm looking for? How proud they are. That's what I'm looking for. How proud they are of Willie, what he's done, bringing. I think I heard and saw in there bringing the Maori people to the world. I think is what I saw, but just gives you a bit of an indication of how proud they are of Willie and what he's done. So, and as they should be too.
Well done. Well done.
Warrior to warrior, Willie now greets the surviving war veterans.
Thank you for the honor. Thank you for knowing you.
Their respect is such that the sight of the Victoria Cross is too much for some to bear.
Feel all the mana coming off those men. They're so proud. They're so honoured to be there.
It takes Willie several minutes to make his way through the well-wishers to the official dinner.
It must seem a long way for Willie from wherever it was in Afghanistan back home to be celebrated for what he's done. In government, we hear whenever our people are involved in some kind of action overseas. Word comes back, there's been an incident, an action. Eventually we hear a bit more. And then in this case, Eventually the Chief of Defence came in and he said something extraordinary happened. We started documenting the story, looking at the precedents, and on that basis, advice to me was I should recommend to Her Majesty the Queen that Corporal Willie Apiata be recognised. And I'm pleased.
There you go. There's the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, Helen Clark, outlining the process and what was happening and the communication and all that process that took place. So at the end of the day, it could have still been rejected. She had recommendations made to her to submit to the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, rest in peace, to recognise Willie. And that's what they did. And then even the Queen saw fit to recognise Willie and award the Victoria Cross. So, yeah, awesome.
It wasn't just me there that day. There's a lot of other men on the ground. And we all know we're a tight family. And, we just look after each other. And that's just the way we are. There's an old saying, hey, who are ye in rags and rotten shoes? The bearded ones blocking the way. We are the pilgrims, master. We're just the humble men, just ordinary blokes, just like everybody here. My heart goes out to everybody here, everyone. We are one Māori. Tēnā koutou, kia ora koutou katoa.
Passion Day. Out of the seasonal mist unique to this corner of Europe comes a lineup of Commonwealth War veterans, high-ranking officials, and national leaders. They have come from all over to pay their respects at the 90th anniversary of one of the bloodiest conflicts of the First World War.
Passchendaele represents the greatest loss of life to New Zealand servicemen in any battle or campaign or war that New Zealanders have ever been involved in. Exceeds Gallipoli in terms of the loss of life. It's quite extraordinary. And so many young New Zealanders went to their death at Passchendaele over literally several hundred metres of dirt.
Among the New Zealand dignitaries is Corporal Willie Apiata, VC.
Tremendously important that Willie, as our most recent VC winner, the first since World War II, was there for the country, but also for Willie.
This day,
worth just, at least what comes to mind now, worth just acknowledging and recognising. There's a lot of comments, rightly so too, in and around how war should never happen, the failings of government and our leaders. The list goes on. Sending, I think there's comments about, sending our best into conflict, into battle, and being surprised if and when things potentially go wrong, or there's mental scarring or things that may happen, or post-traumatic stress, or the comments in and around war itself, that we never should have been there in the first place. They pose no threat to New Zealand or Australia, etc., etc. That is fueled by greed and hidden agendas. I've touched on some of that just to very briefly, and acknowledging, hey, there's no doubt 100% a lot of fact and truth likely in those comments. I don't have the answers for it with regards to that, and I've shared that regardless of your area, your business, your organisation, government or otherwise, there is corruption and greed and people that have hidden agendas throughout, no matter where you go, no matter where you work. And that's sad. That has nothing to do with my personal reasons for why I chose to join the military and wanted to serve in the Special Air Service, and was fortunate to be able to go on and do that. I can't speak for the other operators and what their reasons are, but in my experience, there has been a reasonably common thread amongst most, and that we didn't join or serve because of our respect or admiration for the government, or at least that wasn't the case for me anyway. And I don't know too many people, if any, operators that I've spoken with that joined for the government, or that we joined because we believed in the direction of whatever those leaders or the government was doing. I joined because of the nature of that work. I joined because of the nature of the men that I believed would be there in those units. And when I got there, I found out that I was right. The men within those units are bloody awesome. They're incredible. Good people. Perfect? No. Make some stupid mistakes? Yep. I'm evidence of that. Striving to be better, willing to risk it all for their mates? Yeah. I witnessed that and seen men that were, in my opinion, 100% ready and willing to do that for each other, for me. And I, in turn, wanted to make sure that I was ready to do that for them. So, it may not seem like a good enough reason to people, but it doesn't really matter. It's you have your reasons, I have my reasons for why I went to do what I did, what I was fortunate to do. And I'll be forever grateful for it. And the lessons that I've taken away from the unit during my time and since being out will stay with me forever. And I still strive to apply those things today. So, yeah, that's my little 2 cents piece on that anyway, with regards to service, and just based on what I heard there. You're right, the amount of life lost, loved ones, husbands, fathers, sons, nephews, grandsons, all that sort of stuff during the world wars, etc., and conflict since. Not to mention the alarming, overwhelming amount of lives lost post the global war on terror, and the other wars and that in between, or prior to that as well, through suicide. It's massively lopsided in comparison to the lives lost within conflict and battle. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't take anything away from the tragic loss of life in battle, but it is equally tragic, and maybe some might say even more so, for the tragic loss of life that we have been experiencing post these types of wars and operations. I don't have the answers.
They will prove a significant turning point in Willie's understanding of the medal he now so proudly bears.
I felt very honoured going over, but, I was seeking knowledge at the same time.
When the official party arrives at Tyncott, the largest Commonwealth cemetery in the world, the true sense of scale and loss is felt by all.
This is an occasion to honour and to remember those who made the supreme sacrifice in the war to end all wars.
Hold thou thy cross before my closing eyes. Shine through the gloom and find me to.
With hundreds of New Zealanders laid to rest here, Tyncott has a profound effect on Willie.
Saw the walls with all their names on it, and that's when it really hits home, where so many men just walked out of their trench and knew they were going to die.
Abide with me.
For the rest of the day,
The courage that takes. Sorry, I missed the button when I was trying to pause it. The courage that those men, young men, had to get up out of those trenches, to advance towards certain death. It makes me even reflect even more so now, just rewatching this, and a powerful reminder, at least for me anyway, of the sacrifices that have been made so that we can so that I can, I should say, so that I can enjoy what I enjoy today. Yeah, we will remember them lest we forget, and trying to remember them in as positive a way as we can, trying to use hopefully the experiences, hopefully our leaders can take away from that. There's been some really powerful comments in the videos around, genuinely remembering them and learning from the lessons that they paid the ultimate sacrifice for. And that would be great if we could ever get to that stage, not just as a country, but just globally, eh? But again, I don't have the answers. They make a lot of really powerful, valid points in the comments that I've read in some of my videos in and around this stuff. And yeah, I wish I could wave a wand and make that stuff like that happen, eh? And have better leaders, or have people that can work through the challenges and issues without sending men and women to war to die.
Hey, Willie visits sites where thousands of young men lost their lives.
It took 20 minutes for the Kiwis to get out of the front line, get across no man's land, and have closed with the German front line, so they were up there pretty quick. The Germans knew exactly where they were, and then they started to shell them, and that's when we took most of our casualties.
It looked like at the time he was my OC at Victor Company. It looked like Major Boswell. I don't know if that is him, but John Boswell, I think is his name. Yeah, looks like him anyway. Sharing the story, but to be there is one thing to remember on an Anzac Day or at any time, but to have people that know the intricacies of the details, the stories of how things played out and what happened would, I would imagine, put a whole different perspective on the feeling that you would have just been there for starters, but then having that further detailed knowledge would definitely hit different.
Almighty God, in whose hands are the living and the dead, we give you thanks for all your servants who have laid down their lives in service of our country. Grant them your mercy and light of your presence. Amen.
Confronted with the monumental loss of life on an unprecedented scale at Passchendaele, Willie's own brush with death now takes on a new meaning.
All the people I know that have been awarded them are just ordinary blokes, and that's all they are. Just normal blokes, just looking out for their mates and doing what people call extraordinary things.
It takes some time to sink in, but I think Passchendaele was a watershed time for him to really understand now what it was really all about.
Departing from the official schedule, Willie returns to Tyncott Cemetery, this time in private.
We went back to Tyncott, and that's where, I had my time.
Quite heavy on the chest there, Willie. Jesus. What were you doing at 21? It's the first Kiwi one we've seen, eh? There's another one of the brothers.
It makes you feel quite unworthy, actually, walking amongst all those gravestones, knowing that, they put more forward than any man could ever ask of them.
That's powerful. That hit me quite hard. Just I don't recall hearing that the first time I saw this. Mind you, that's thinking a long, long time ago now when I watched this. But hearing Willie say it makes him feel quite unworthy. I don't know if he's talking about the VC or just being there in their presence in that gravesite. But love the fact that him and his trusted mentor, have gone back there and taken some time for themselves to walk around. And, yeah, the heaviness of that occasion, or the spirit that they would have been feeling whilst they're there, man, I can't even imagine. Just very, very different.
As dusk falls, the two soldiers find a grave with the familiar markings of a Victoria Cross.
Tēnā koe e ho. That's one of your brothers, mate.
Like so many other Victoria Cross winners, Canadian Private J.P. Robertson died on the battlefield.
It's a tribe that you've been basically awarded into. And that's a forefather that's gone before you, even though he's not a Kiwi. But it's someone that carried the burden that I have to carry now.
I love that, eh? It may seem like a very small, simple gesture or thing. Willie placing his hand on the headstone of those, the Kiwi headstones, I'm guessing, as he's going along, and probably other ones, and then in this case here, the Canadian Victoria Cross winner as well. A small thing, it would appear, but it has a real, probably can't explain it properly, but it has a real meaning, and it's sincere and it's genuine, and it's coming from a place of admiration, respect, love, sadness as well in there, and just absolute gratitude for what they've ultimately paid the ultimate price for.
It's 4 months since Corporal Willie Apiata of the New Zealand Special Air Service was awarded the Victoria Cross for Valor. And in that time he has come to terms with the fact that he is now a national hero and the latest member of a truly unique association of men.
Suddenly been automatically enlisted into a club of very few members.
Accompanied by his commanding officer, Willie has requested a meeting with his lawyers.
Hi, Willie. Hi, Jim. I'll see you again. And you?
He has reached a momentous decision.
Thought long and hard about what I want to do with the medal. It wasn't just earned by me. It was earned by all those men that were out there that day.
In simple terms, it seems to me that you're giving away more than you've ever had, almost before you've got it.
It'll never be sold, or there'll never be any quarrels over it.
As you know, what this does is gift the Victoria Cross effectively to New Zealand. Congratulations.
Look at that, eh? Gifts effectively the Victoria Cross that he earned, that was assessed, that was deemed worthy of the recognition and awarding of the Victoria Cross to Mr. Willie Apiata VC, the individual, and he's gifting that to Aotearoa, New Zealand. Obviously, along with all the other stuff too, carrying it on for and on behalf of his brothers, the lads that he is, that he is a part of. Man.
when my life is past, my son, his sons, and our bloodline, will be able to wear it and represent me. The resting place for it will be here in the unit.
Right. Well, we got through it in the end. Leave that piece up there. I'll make sure that I drop a link for the uninterrupted version of the documentary. I'm pretty sure I've been doing that anyway, but if I haven't, I'll make sure it's in there for this one as well. Appreciate everybody's time, anybody's time that spent any time here listening to me share my thoughts, my 2 cents in and around Mr. Willie Apiata VC. It was awesome to go through this and watch it again through a different perspective with a few more years on the clock for me, and to be in a different time and space in my life personally as well to look at this, and also grateful for the information received from people that were there in regards to why Willie was awarded and deemed worthy and rightfully so recognised to receive the Victoria Cross. So yeah, just appreciate you sticking around if you stuck around this long. If you didn't, if you just spent any sort of time here, appreciate you anyway, whether your opinions agree with mine or not. So that being said, hey, as always, if you're going through any difficulties, challenges, struggles, trials at this time, man, all I can say and encourage you to do is just keep turning up, to just keep staying in the fight, and to know and trust that better days are ahead, that the sun will shine again, that you can and that you are capable of getting through whatever this challenge is right now that you're going through. And if you can do that, you know, you'll soon realize that it was all worth it. Okay, it was all worth it. So keep staying in the fight. Remember, go always a little further and who dares wins. And until the next video, which I'll be doing one shortly, which is going to be a channel update, a big man away from me to you.